Please note, this session is being recorded.
Hello, Sita, can you hear me?
Yes, Smriti, I can hear you now. Yeah. So I was asking, like, after yesterday's session, did you guys went ahead and did any further work on the worksheet, the assignment worksheet you shared?
No.
What about you, Smriti?
No, I thought over weekend I'll go through that.
Okay. So yeah, see,
Don't
I
get
would
much
request.
time yesterday.
Okay. So, but try to at least go through it again and try to implement few more things as we covered, right? Because as we go, uh, we simply created charts in that assignment, right? Now as we go towards the actual project implementation, most of the time you have kind of parameters, calculated fields, those things will come a lot. It is very important that focus on parameter and custom calculations, because these two things will always be there in any of the visualization or dashboard you create. Let me share my screen. And as I mentioned the other day, that we'll go through some of the LOD functions today, and we'll go back to dashboards, because on dashboards still there is a lot of things which I need to cover. So LOD, as I mentioned, LOD is level of detail, right? Before we go ahead and create anything and use LOD directly in our visualization, it's very important to know that when we say LOD, where are we going to use it and why exactly we need it, right? So let me take the same data, a sample superstore. Okay, I'll open this in Excel, and maybe let's say customer. We'll take some of the fields, not all of them, just some of the fields. Okay, some of the data. Okay, so if you look here, I have taken hardly 30 rows, and some of the fields out of this again, in order to show this example, I will remove some of these. The region is there, fine. I don't need this subcategory. In order to just show the example, I need minimum fields, right? So I have 30 records and 7 columns, right? There are a number of questions which we can ask over this data. Number one, what is the average quantity sold, right? If I ask this question, what would be your answer, and let me know how would I calculate it. Smriti, let's start with you. What is the average quantity sold? How would I calculate it?
When we say average quantity, then we need another parameter. Okay, maybe customer wise or segment wise or per city, per state, or per region or category. Some dimension we need actually to. Or else, yeah, if we say on a whole basis, then maybe total quantity divided by total number of records we have.
Right. or
but
in
that's
Excel,
not give
basically you
anything.
can. Okay, okay. So let me tell you, Smriti, if you want to create the overall average, you can directly apply
Yeah.
the average formula and you will get it, right? This is the
Okay.
average quantity sold for this particular data, right?
So
That's
so
the
this is basically all the divided by number of records, right?
yeah, it is
So
that only. It is that only. So what would happen? See, sum of quantity divided count of rows, right? You'll get it 4 only. Correct? Hope this makes sense, right? The average of
yeah.
quantity sold. Yeah. Bio, is it okay? Or do you have any doubt here? Okay. Now if I say get me the number of average quantity sold per state. What would be the answer for this? Is it going to change?
Yeah. It will actually.
Mhm. Yeah, so what would be the answer here?
Then
How would you calculate?
we'll do
Hmm.
sum of sales
Hmm.
state wise. Then maybe in Excel we can go sort the data according to the state. Then for every state, we'll calculate the sum individually.
Yeah,
In SQL, we'll do group by. Yeah. Or yeah, we can create a pivot here to calculate.
right. See,
Yes.
average quantity sold per state is this. So for California is this, Florida is this, Kentucky is this. However, the overall remains same,
Yes.
right? Now there could
Yes.
be another scenario. There could be another. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more calculation here. Quality sold per category, right? So if I need to do it by category, I'll do the similar thing by category. So let me uncheck state and we'll do category. Okay. So by category we got these are different numbers, but these are the different numbers, but overall we got 4. That this is the average quantity sold. Right. Now there could be another scenario now. The scenario could be because this furniture, office supplies and technology, they are sold in state also. Different states. Right? So we have combination of, I mean, on overall category we just found, state we found separately. But now what I'm asking is, if I add one more parameter here, right? I say average quantity sold per category per state, which means I want average of these categories by state and then that average number or average quantities. So what I will have to do in that case, I will have to add state into this view so that I can see. Let me change its view. Display classic pivot. Okay. So now if you see here, California is the state. Under California, we have these three product categories, and each category has a different average. Same goes with Florida. There are two categories which are being sold, and each this furniture average cannot be same with the average of furniture under California, right? So what are we doing here? We are simply finding the average or any aggregation, let's say. I mean, what we are doing, we are just talking about average right now, but this scenario can be applied to any aggregation function on different segments, or basically we call those segments as coherent, right? So you might have heard in business that coherent is. Basically, we segmentize our data and then we do the analysis in different segments, and that is exactly what we are doing here. We are trying to find out average on different levels, right? Now this scenario, we have used state as a part of our calculation, right? Now there could be scenarios wherein I would say exclude my state, I simply want average. So basically the meaning of that would be, irrespective of the state, I would like other all column to be used for the calculation. I simply don't want to use the state and then find out the average or total or whatever we are trying to do, right? So these are the concept which you will be using exactly the same in LOD, right? Now in other terms, I would say if I'm using state in the calculation, right, I will call it as include, that I'm including my state in the calculation. But in case I say like I don't want to to happen on a state level, however, I want all other columns to be used, then I will say exclude. I want to exclude California for average aggregation for the categories. Now, in other words, it could be like I really want my calculation to be fixed on a particular field, that I want aggregation to be done only on this particular field. That will be known as fixed, right? So three things we talked about: include, exclude, and fixed, right? Now let's move ahead into Tableau and see that how we can utilize these or apply these, right? Now the thing was, before I move ahead, I was using those fields here in the view, but in Tableau, Tableau gives you option that you can use these fields in the calculation, but you have option to show that you have option you can avoid showing these fields, right? So that's the beauty over there. So let's move ahead, and what I would say, let's do the similar scenario. Okay, guys, one more thing before I go to LOD, right? You might see here that I have two data sources created, either by mistake or what I did, I just moved some of the sheets from another workbook to here. So what happened, in both the workbook we had this results data source, so because we got a copy sheets 1 results and then 2, right? Be careful and just watch it, that what I'm talking about. I have two data sources with a similar name, right? Over here, not just the name, the complete data sources are same. because you remember like a day, I think day before, in the previous third session, we had some of these workbooks in other workbook, and we were not able to find those here. So I just moved over those sheets here by copying. So this data source got copied here twice, right? Now, if I close this data source directly, what would happen? All the calculated field and the sheets which are using this data source will be removed, will be deleted automatically. And we don't want it. Are you with me? Smriti, Bio?
Yes, I'm here. We're here.
You include and
Yeah.
exclude.
So that,
I got it, but
Smriti, we can hardly hear you. Your voice is breaking a lot.
yes, Satya, no issue. Carry on. Actually, your
Yeah.
internet is not there. I connected from my hotspot. So.
Okay, fine. So yeah, what I was saying, that in case this situation comes, how to deal with it? Because in case you close, this data source, all the underlying sheets and calculation will be removed. Doing it, you need to make sure that all the calculated fields which you are kind of using in the sheets which you brought, those should be created in other data source also. And then once it is created, you need to kind of replace the second data source with the first one, right? How to do that? I'll tell you. Go to data tab, then replace data source. Once you come here, Tableau will ask which data source you want to replace with which one. So over here, I want my second data source to be replaced with the first one. So current is this, replacement will be first, right? I'll say okay. So now all the sheets which were using, they will start using sheet results. I mean my primary data source. You would not see any data source which is using the second data source. And once you get it, once you are able to move all the dependency over one data source, you can go ahead and close this, right? So this scenario will come once you are working with multiple data connections in the same workbook. So be aware and be careful while replacing this. Now let's move ahead to our LOD function. So I was saying that include, exclude, and fixed, right? These are the primary LOD details what we use. But yes, in order to implement, let's say first of all, drag our basic concept. What we'll go ahead and bring subcategory onto rows, and then we'll bring profit or sales or quantity, whichever measure you want. So we'll drag quantity over here, and let's do the average. Bio has dropped. It seems has some problem or internet issue.
No, Satya, I got dropped and rejoined back. I think I still.
Okay. Fine. So, Smriti, what I'm doing right now, I'm just trying to kind of put average here by subcategories as a first step. Now, we'll go ahead and kind of create one calculated field. Let's say LOD1. We'll rename it once again. So over here, basically, if you see fixed or include, exclude, okay, I wanted it to cover with bio also because it's not that easy. He'll get confused. Okay. Meanwhile, Smriti, I mean, if you have any other questions, you can ask. Maybe we can discuss that. Okay, he's coming in.
Yes, okay. Okay, you were explaining that include, exclude, and fix, right?
Mm-hmm.
From Excel. I didn't understand that fix part. What you meant by that fix? I got include and
Scenario
exclude.
simply shown. Yep. So scenario over there in Excel, it was not kind of the very first you were scenario not you because to show average on uh, basic simple average, right, including all the factors. Then it was supposed to be fixed, but in Excel you will not be able to find actual the details. So I'll show you that here, right, the similar scenarios. Okay.
Okay.
So bio yeah, what basically we are doing so far, we have added subcategory and quantity, and this is simple average what we are doing here. No other calculation, nothing. It's simple aggregation function we have used. So what next we are going to do, we'll add field, and right now I'll just name it as LOD1, and then later on we'll change it by looking at the number that on what level we are going to show it. So LOD, as said earlier, it's nothing but level of details, like on what level we want to show the details. So basically, as said, there are several type of LODs, like include, there would be fixed, and then there is exclude, right? There are more calculations to it, but these are the three primary aggregation LOD functions what we use. So let's say if I say include, right? Now you will see the example that what it's talking about. Include, it says dimension 1, comma dimension 2, comma dimension 3. So the example which I took here, I was taking only state, maybe category level of calculation, but you can use multiple dimensions in the calculations in Tableau. So which means you can fix your calculation on several dimensions, number of dimensions, and you can exclude, include, or fix basically anything you can do on combination of dimensions. So let's say include. I'll add 2 dimensions here. In first case, you can see like subcategory is already there, right? In this visualization here. Again, when I'm going to do it, I will say add my subcategory, comma, add state, right? There are 2 fields which I'm using in the calculation. Then as soon as you provide your dimensions, you need to give colon sign, right? And what you should use. So over here, I will use average and average of quantities. And then you need to close your bracket, which was curly braces basically, which started at the beginning. Right? For any help, you can directly go to select that keyword and see the example here also. It will say, you can see computes an aggregation using the specified dimensions and the view dimensions, right? So I just added this calculation and said include, and then we'll see that how much average it's going to show. So I'll say apply and drag this calculation over here. We'll say format. Sum. We'll change it to average and we'll change the format custom 1 decimal place. Right? Now see the difference. This average is on overall, right? When I say overall, basically it includes all the fields in consideration. It's a normal or simple average. However, over here, this average has been calculated keeping only 2 fields in mind. One is subcategory and state, because that is what we defined into this field here, right? So basis these 2 dimensions come to find out much, right? So similarly, I will, okay, let me rename it. State and category LOD. Right. Similarly, in this field, you can add one more dimension. You will see there is a difference. So let's say state category will add city also. Right. So it lies somewhere between, category and state and then the actual one. You can see these numbers are mostly in between or somewhere it is going up and down. Yeah. But it would be near about. So there is a difference. As soon as we are adding a dimension in our calculation, there is some difference. So this was the case wherein we want a particular dimension to be used in the calculation. Now, there is a similar scenario or opposite scenario to this, that we don't want to include these, and that we can say exclude, right? I'll say apply. this was already there. I just edited the existing one. Yeah. So as soon as we said exclude, right? Now if you see here, if I exclude aggregation, including my subcategory and state both, you will see that I'm getting a similar number all across. Let me increase the decimal points so that I would know whether it's the exact same number we are getting or, okay, this is exactly the same number all across. Right? We do aggregation of these two and then show your figures. So on subcategory level, it might change as soon as I change this dimension, right? Dimensional view. It might change. But why? Because I'm using subcategory here and I said exclude subcategory from the calculation. That's why you are getting the same number, right? If I just drag something else here at the place of subcategory, maybe let me drag segment, right? You will find different number because segment is not of the expectation, right? If I go ahead and drag state also, you will get the same number for everything. Geolocation, drag state. See, for each state you will have same number. Why? I but I'm showing the view by that only. That's why you are getting the same number all across. But apart from the fields which are included in the calculation, sorry, we are using exclude LOD, but I said include because we are specifying those fields here, right? So anything which is included here with the exclude LOD, if you try to show the same thing into view here, you will get the same number for all the entries, for all the rows, right? Smriti, are you getting this difference? Why it is happening?
No, Satya.
Okay, no, I mean, it's straightforward. That's what I was trying to say. Bio, just try to focus here. What I said, in case of exclude, I've added subcategory and state to my calculation. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find out average of quantities by excluding these things into our calculation. Exclude LOD, right? We are trying to exclude these two from our calculation. So in case if we use these two measures, sorry, these two dimensions, I will get the same number because these things are not used in the calculation anymore. Right? This calculation has been done irrespective of these two, state and category. Right? This
But
calculation.
Satya, do you not get 4? Because earlier we were getting 4 on a total average, right? So I was expecting 4. I got your point, that
Mhm,
exclude, but
mhm.
I was expecting 4 here actually.
No, is getting 4 is the overall average. But over here, I said while calculating overall average, don't consider state or category, state and category, right? Don't do the aggregation on basis of those. Exclude those. I mean, this calculation, you can say, you can imagine that state and category is not part of your data at all, right? Irrespective of that, you are calculating.
Okay, got it. I mean, rest
Right.
all the dimensions except state and category.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah,
That is what
got it.
exclude does.
Okay, yeah, got it, Satya.
Right? Whereas the opposite will be the include. Like include will focus on these three or whatever I'm using to put aggregation, right? Now let's see that what is the difference between include and fixed, because these two are very close. I'll create one more copy of this. And over here, I will say fixed, because in most of the scenario you will get the same number for fixed as well as include. So okay, so fixed is kind of okay. Over here what we had fixed, yeah. So over here, while we fixed our calculation for these three fields, city, state, and category, then we got these numbers. So over here you will see like most of them, our this is include, right? Yeah, this is include, and last one is fixed. So yeah, for most of them you will see our include or fixed. So now let me rename it properly. I will call it exclude. This is include, and this is fixed. Okay. So now if you look into the view, basically first one is my overall average. This is exclude one. So let me change the format of this. One decimal place, right? All type of use by state, average quantity, exclude, fixed, and include. Now let's do one more thing. Because I'm using state in the calculation, let's remove this and add some other field which I'm not using. So state, city, and category, that is what we were using. City, state, and category. If I have a segment here, so for segment, you are getting average quantity as 3.8, exclude is again 3.8, fixed is 3.8, and same goes with include, right? So over here, our those three fields, state, city, and category, we are not using that in the dimension view. We are using segment as dimension view, and then we are trying to plot different calculations on level of state, city, and subcategory. Right. So my main suggestion here would be, you can do some aggregation basis different conditions, but while implementation you need to read the requirement and these keywords, basically that whether it is a direct average or direct total or direct standard deviation, or they want it by something per, like over here it is per state, over here can be state, right? So you need to read these things properly in order to understand that what level they want this calculation to be done. For example, another thing what happens in case of countries, we say per capita income, right? Or sometimes we say household income, or sometimes we say uh, per person income, right? So the average would be different on each level. The household income, like per house, or average maybe salary or income for a particular state will not be same. It will vary a lot, right? Because one place you are aggregating on state, other place you are aggregating on per person. Getting my point, Bio? Any questions, Bio and Smriti?
Basically, the LOD, is this the same thing as calculated field?
Yeah, it's a calculated field only. Basically, it's a function provided in calculated field. So once you add calculated field, you will get these functions. So fixed is one function. Then you have include. So these are the different functions,
Okay.
right? But this function, for example, you will find some other functions, let's say script. These functions, right? These functions you can use in order to use these functions, connect or Python servers. Until unless you don't connect, you will not be able to use. Similarly, each function has a different requirements. Then only you will be able to use a particular function. So fix function has a different syntax and different requirements. Similarly, include will have different, or any other function whichever you are using, right? For example, this is the complete list of functions. So under aggregation, you will find these: fixed, include, exclude, max, covariance, count, d, count, correlation, right? So each function has a different requirement and dependency, and accordingly we call it. But you can use all those functions using calculated fields.
So, Satya, if we talk about this current worksheet which you are working on, here the average include is, I mean, we have already included the category, state, and city. So, can you say this
Right.
average include is per segment, per category, per city, per state? I mean,
Yeah.
segment also will get included by default, right? Because we have dragged it onto the sheet. So, along with
No,
those
no,
three
no,
which are included, segment
no,
also.
no, no. Smriti, that's a difference, right? Segment. Okay, over here, right? This particular
Yeah,
number,
in
if you say, right? So you
yes,
will, when you will say 3.7, this is specifically on consumer segment per state, per city, per subcategory, right? If you say
exactly.
over,
Yeah.
right? If you say all different segment, you are getting per state, per city, and per subcategory, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions here?
So Satya, the difference between include and fix, you can say that here include is including those three along with the segment, but fixed will
Yes.
never change. Right? It will not include
Yeah,
segment.
exactly. It will not include segment.
Satya, I think we
Mhm.
don't have any SQL equivalent function for fixed, right? We can arrange this include. I don't know if exclude, but yeah, we can arrange for exclude again. But I think we have nothing for this fixed, right?
Oh, I have not seen. We might write a custom SQL for that, but I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, the direct function is not there.
yeah, yeah. Hands. Usually we
All
don't
right.
comment
So
requirements.
let's
Fixed, do we use it
pardon.
very often here? This fixed function.
No, I mean mostly you will receive requirements around include and exclude.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'll just move ahead to another. I mean, it's not a new concept. We have already covered some of this. So, but I just wanted to show here because sometimes you need to use table reference. So I'll drag our favorite fields, basically subcategories, categories, then subcategory, and we'll drag profit, and we'll drag one order date also. Fine. So what we have here, by year, we have profit in different categories and subcategories, right? Now, generally we get requirement like people want to see
Satya, I think you have gone on mute. We are not able to hear you.
okay, I'm sorry, I was speaking on mute. So yeah, what I said, we added category and subcategory here, then we dragged year, order year, and we put sum of profit. So now as a general business requirement, what we get, that we need to show year over year growth, right? So what Tableau does, it directly provides you a table calculation like year over year growth, and you can select it. So what you will get, like each year, what is your growth percentage. So now you'll see like in 2016 you're not getting anything because this was the very first year, right? So you cannot compare and get the actual number. But for 2017 you have baseline here in 2016, so you can compare the number of 2017 to get this percentage, right? So this works on that logic. Similarly, this number you get by comparing 2018 versus 17, and this will be 2019 versus 18, right? So this is the direct calculation which is there in the Tableau. But again, there are several cases wherein you you will have to kind of create a table calculation by your own. So likewise, we created in rank, right? Now moving average, all these things. Now there is one calculation basically. Let me let me okay. I'll take this profit as it is. We'll create one more field here and I'll call it new. So over here, if you see, there would be first, right? How it works, there is nothing. It's simply it's first, last, left, right. These things are there. So I'll just add it, profit new, and we'll drag this into the data area. So over here, what do you see and what you are able to figure it out? I mean, what it is showing right now? First, last. What it is representing? It says -1, -2, -3. What is the meaning of these things?
Meaning profit is less than 0.
Not basically. Basically, that's not the thing here. So, Smriti, would you like to try?
No idea,
Why
Satya.
it shows zero?
Usually we use first to extract the first uh, record or something, but here we have not applied it with any column. Actually, we have just taken first, so not
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. See, basically, what happens? This first, last, left, right. These are the four functions in as in calculated field. They show the index of table, right? These are not the direct function which you should use. I mean, I have used it directly right now, so that's why it simply shows the index. It is right. It directly shows the index of these cells. These again, these things are based out of the view what is being created here. They will not have any static value. The value of these functions will keep changing on the, that depends where they are placed in the table or calculations. So over here it simply shows first will be as a zero index, then -1, -2, -3. First, right? Similarly, similarly, don't get confused by the profit, new field. I'll remove, let's say if I remove profit, it will remain the same. It's index. But it depends on this view only. If you would like to see, what is the value this column is holding, then these will be different. Over here, if I go, I'm not sure whether it will appear here because this is the table calculation. We have profit percentage. No, I don't see profit underscore new here. Yeah. Similarly, other table calculations, they will also not appear in the data because they will have actual value only when they are added into the view. So similarly, if you go ahead and add, say, right now it shows like this. So last index will be shown at the top and then it will reduce. You will have right. Sorry, this right is basically this a string function. String function left and right. So first and last, these are also used at many places. Has anybody worked on Tableau servers? Smriti, did you work on Tableau servers?
Yes, sir, I have seen it. I didn't work much, but I've seen it.
Okay, just one question. I mean, it's asked in this role-based security. It's not a server question. It's a question of desktop only, what we are working on right now. But its result will appear only on servers.
Satya, the
How would
question
you
again?
implement role? How would you implement role-based security or record-based security?
I'm coming.
Right. See, basically, what happens? Let's say in a team, you would have different people on different designations, right? Or maybe if it is a department, different departments, you would not like to show the data of finance department to some other department. They might access report, but not appear, right? And how can you control that? For that, you need role-based security. So On server side, we create some groups, and those groups will have different people added to those. Now over here, you will have different functions provided, like user domain, username, is username. So these will help you in order to implement role-based security.
But usually these things are implemented in the server side, right? So I mean, I don't know about Tableau, but in other applications, usually these
No,
things.
so what happens, like you need to kind of provide that logic here in the application only while developing, whether it is SSRS or other tools, because I have worked on SSRS also, so I know you need to define the logic here only in the report while developing. Once you will deploy this into Tableau server, right, on the server side, these logics will be evaluated first, and basis this, the record will be shown or will be hidden, right? So over here, what I'm saying is, if is username, right? Basically, what it matches, you will define some usernames here. If username matches with the person who's logged in, then only he will be able to access this, or he'll be able to kind of go into the workbook. If that username doesn't matches, he will not be able to access the workbook, right? Similarly, username,
Okay.
there is a contain, there is a contains users, or is username returns if the current user's username matches with the specified username, user domain, username. Okay, now there is another thing, you can use this username with help of contains, right? Contains will help you because what happens in Tableau group, you can create a group of different people, right? You like use a particular group contains this username, then only anybody who's part of that group will be able to see that. If that username, their username doesn't match, or if the username is not part of that group, they will not be able to see it. So that kind of security you can implement. But yes, over here, I mean, we can't show that because Tableau server is not there. But you should know all different type of functions which are available into this list. Under string functions like contains, find, is date, left, right, length, lower, ltrim. We have not used most of these here, but these will be used a lot while actually working on the projects. Fine. Okay. Going back to the table calculations. So I think this is what we have already seen. Earlier, what we did, we created a rank function using using calculated field. But over here, if you see, we are trying to show the rank depending on the measure what we have used. So this is not a new calculated field. We are utilizing the values of existing measure. We are that view, right? So which means for a particular row, whatever values we had of profit. We are simply trying to kind of show those things here, right? Okay, one more thing, just tell me, Smriti and Bio both. Right now we can see this 12413 24341, basically the rank function here. If I would like to see the profit also here in the same cell, what should I do? In one cell I can see the rank right now. I want to show profit also. What should I do then?
You go sum of profits, quick calculation.
Where do I need to put? Here?
Yes.
It will kind of, add a separate pane for it. What I wanted this to be in the same cell.
Okay. Go to the measure value. Go to sum profit.
Yep. Wanted to just drag it again.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
We'll go to quick calculation. Hello?
Hello. Yeah. Quick calculation, right? You want?
Yeah. We want profit, right?
Yes, yes. Right now it is showing rank here, but with the rank I want to show the profit also.
Minus quick calculation. No, go back to sum of profit. No. Quick calculation. Running total difference presented presenting. Go to measure sum. No, don't think so.
Right. So there could be a possibility. I mean, what basically we need to do is we need to show it in one cell, right?
So
So
I
that
think we can create one more calculated field. There we can concatenate the rank and profit both, and we can show that.
so for that, okay, let's try to do that first of all. So what you are saying is, I'll just create one calculated field. I'll say, let's say profit underscore okay, calculation. First of all, you want to be shown profit, sum of profit, and another thing you want it to be concatenated, right? So let's see what happens. I need to use rank. Profit. I doubt this will work, but let's see. how to concatenate the two integers.
Concat will be there or pipes. Can I use that operator pipe, double pipe?
Okay, let's do one thing. If I convert this into a string, then it will fail. Now let me see. String, then plus, obviously we can put str and then this. Okay, this seems to be working, but let's see what number it shows. Two, four,
Instead
one,
of a
three.
space, if you can give a dash or underscore, then it will be easy for us to identify.
It's working.
We can keep the rank before, so that based on that you can properly.
Yeah. And on top of this, we can, I think there would be some decimal places. So absolute, I'll take integers, sorry, numbers. Then we can take ceiling. Degrees is what? No. Let's take ceiling only. I'll put ceiling here. Ceiling will just give you the, round off side. Round off. What's wrong? Cannot mix the aggregate and non-aggregate arguments with this function. Aggregate and non-agreement. Okay. Over here we had sum of profit earlier. Fine. We can one more space. Okay, something like this if you want, right? 2413, 2413. So each row it shows the rank.
Yeah, much better.
Right. But my question would be, if I need to change the rank, because this rank is for row wise, right? In each row it is giving me the rank.
Yeah, the rank we can make more modifications.
Right. But if we need to create a separate rank function, when I say separate rank function, basically, no, I am not looking for a separate rank function. What I'm trying to say is, let's say if I want to rank basically the way we do it for table calculations, right? I want, okay, it's working, it seems. Yeah, it's working. Very good. It's working the way I wanted it. It works. See, the rank is changing. So my sum will remain same, but rank is changing according to the view I want. So basically, if you see in this view, your rank is in overall table, you have one number as 1, then second, third, the complete data elements have been ranked. No rank is repeating, right?
So you want this as your default view?
No, I didn't want the default view. Basically, the idea behind table calculation is that you should be able to change your table calculation at the over here. If you see this view, I'm just for a particular year I'm ranking it. So for 2016, I have this number as rank 1, this number as rank 2. Whereas for 2017, I have this as 1 and where is 2? This is 2, right? So this is the beauty of table calculation. So you can change your view anytime. So over here we are using two calculation. One is profit, sum of profit, and one is rank. So my rank is changing the way I want, and profit will obviously not change. So that is fine, right? This is one bio. This is exactly one way of doing it. Like you can achieve showing two measures in one cell, right? But over here it gives it. People might get confused that what this hyphen sign is in between, or in case if you want, you can don't show any sign, you can directly show a space. That will also work, right? So it's up to you, like you can manage it. But there is another way which I wanted basically to show. This is the one field on this text. I'll just drag another field on text, and in one cell you will be able to see two measures. You can add, if you wish, sales, right? So in one cell you have three measures right now. Smriti, getting?
Not the last part, Satya.
Okay. What I said, I just dragged any measure which I want. I just dragged text. What in one cell I'm able to see three different measures. So for furniture and bookcases, in first measure is what? Rank and profit, sum of profit combination. Second is profit, and third one is sales. Actually, this was my requirement, right? I wanted to show profit and rank together in a cell. Basically, you can add as many measures you want in one particular cell.
Okay, and how did we do that? Simply by dragging? Earlier it was not allowing us, right?
No, I'm not doing anything. I just simply dragged it.
Okay,
Dragged it on
even
text.
Marco was suggesting the same thing. That time it was not working, I guess.
Earlier and what we are doing now. So I'll just remove everything. Earlier, we were trying to, let me see, where is the rank function? Profit calculation. Let me just show it only rank here. Huh? So only rank is there in this field. So what we were doing earlier, we had it like this. We were getting the rank for each year of the profit. This was the scenario. Now, if you drag this profit here, it will add another panel. Sorry, why it went on the color. Order date. category and subcategory. Okay. This was the first scenario. If you try to drag sum of profit onto here, it should add another panel. Why it's not doing that? Not sure. Earlier it was not happening. It was just coming to the different panel altogether. So it was profit and let's say new. Then we have and we have yeah, earlier it was coming like this. Basically, as you drag any measure, it will go to and it will add another panel. This is what was happening earlier. Okay, I got it. Why it was not happening. So look here. Earlier, our scenario was like this. Measure values and something like this was happening. I'm not able to recreate exactly, but something like this was happening. Like as soon as you drag anything else, it will go and add another panel. Okay, but you can have everything on by putting text over here. I don't know. There is something that is confusing now. I was able to do earlier. Category will go by order date, and then we'll drag our profit once again. Profit, here we go, and sales category, sorry, quantity. Okay, so look into this view now. What was happening earlier when we were trying to do, when we were trying to drag the measures into the same view, what it was happening, it was adding the another panel, right? Why it happens? Because your measure names, basically the field which comes here, that was at the top, right? Now, if you drag it here, it will add another row. It will not show in the same cell. It will add another row. For example, this, right? Measure names. I have two measures right now, profit and quantity. So it is adding another row over here at the place of showing into one cell. In case you want to show only, drag that onto this text itself, right? And that is exactly what we were trying to do at that time. So rank and profit both can be shown in the one cell. So if we drag it like this, so you'll see my profit was already there. Now my quantity is also showing in the same cell, right? How to do it is that clear? It was not happening in between, so that was just because of the wrong option. But how to do it, is that clear?
I mean, you just drag that onto the text, right? That is all, or anything else?
No, that is all. That is all. Right? It's not a big rocket science. It's a simple, small thing.
Okay, so
Some
we no need
like
to concatenate and create a new calculated field which we did earlier, and the rank will still work like you
right,
expect.
right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep. I mean that can concatenated field. I was just trying as per your suggestion. So I didn't know that it will work because I never tried that way. But this is what the easiest way of dragging this on the text side.
Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah, usually in Informatica
Yeah.
to display multiple things, we try to do the same strategy. So I thought it might work here.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's go ahead and so we have category and profit. Into sales cross table. Okay. Now let's show subtotals. Right. Now here you see furniture technology, different years, then profit and quantity. On analysis Tableau provides you totals, right? Show row and grand totals. Show column grand totals. So over here, if you see, you will see the grand total of columns, right? Then if you, okay, tell me one thing, why didn't it show for rows? I selected row, but it didn't show that grand total. Why didn't it show that? For column it shows, but for rows it didn't show.
Because for rows, those are two different measures which are unrelated actually. So it will not make any sense to add it
Right,
across those.
right. But as soon as I change the view, I put it year on the top. So now profit is for 4 years and then quantity is again for 4 years. And that's the reason it shows total for profit and total for quantities. Right? At least you should have a same multiple columns related to same measure. Then only it will show the totals. Else it will not. But I did that view specifically for subtotals. So we'll do it again. Analysis. Shit. Go to analysis. Okay, over here, the other two options are like you can show the total at the top or column total at the top. So you can just change the view. Earlier the total was coming here. Now it went to the top. right? So this is just depending on requirement, you can change these views. Now go to subtotals, add subtotal. So subtotal will, what it will do, it will just add totals at each level. So over here we had two levels, one was the year and one was the furniture. So for on year level it shows this, sorry, individual record was for year, this total is for the furniture. Similarly here, individual years had a single record, but for office supplies you will have a one record. As soon as I expand this year, you get, right? If I click on plus sign here, okay, right now it is not showing. For year 2019, if I say, I don't have the total, so I need to select this level, year level, and we'll go to add subtotals. Right now you can see on year level also we added one subtotal. So on year level, then overall category level, whichever level you want to select the subtotal, add the subtotal, you need to select that level. So over here, if I expand it further, quarters, I'll go ahead and say add subtotal. So on quarter level also you can see a subtotal row now, right? So on level will show different. First quarter, then is for year, then is for total years, and then this is for the total table or the category, right? You need to see the different levels first of all. So this is for individual quarter, this is for individual year, this is for individual, I think, category, and this is for the complete table. Yeah. Fine, anytime you can change the view here, so it will appear like this. Q1, Q2, Q3 for a particular year and their totals. Right, the subtotal is clear, right? Whatever level you want to show it, you can show that. If you want to remove all of the totals, and then going back, using the all, using the total, using the all. Basically, when I say all, it's not all, it's basically what exactly you want to show in terms of total. It could be in aggregation in terms of your sum. It can be in form of average, minimum, and maximum. In this functionality is there in Excel also, subtotals. So you can show those subtotals, either the total, average, minimum, maximum, right? All those things. So the same concept here. 10 trend lines we saw already. Special values, show, hide, table layout, filters, highlight. Okay, highlighters. So over here, highlighters, let's add, right? So what happens over here, if you select furniture, it will highlight your furnitures. If you select grand total only, it is going to highlight that grand total. It doesn't filter it out. It just focuses on that particular value, what you want to highlight. So maybe for presentations, it is a useful feature like highlight table or whichever field you want to highlight. So because I selected category, so the complete category, it is highlighting. Now the same thing can be done for year also. Highlight years, and over here if you say 2017, 18, 19, or only total, so use data anymore. Parameters we already used. Calculated field, cycle field, and then swap rows and columns. So this is again we have been using a lot. from here. Geocoding we have not done. It's simple exporting the CSV file with the latitude and longitude information, and then you can create your map. So I'll see if I get an example for this. Okay, format is the thing what you need to use a lot in order to make your sheets formatted well. So over here, let's say, okay, I think we created one cross table. Okay, I'll create copy of this sheet. We understood, right, that what requirement we had in this particular sheet. I'm going to use the same concept and will add another level to it. The sheet was clear, right? We created one parameter, and in this parameter we had yearly, quarterly, monthly, and daily. And depending on these things, the view was changing. If it is monthly, we were able to see year-wise months here. If we see year and quarter combination. If it is yearly, we were able to see the years over here. The sheet was clear, right?
Okay.
I'll make a copy of this. Let's say duplicate. And over here, I would say dynamic headers. Not header, I'll say title. Okay. So you might have seen as soon as I did it as dynamic title, the title over here has changed, right? Dynamic title. It's a dynamic title. Now, basically the requirement what we get is we need to change the name basis selection. Select me quarterly view. If it is yearly, it should say yearly view. If it is monthly, it should say monthly view, right? So what I would say here, we have plotted sales. So I will say sales by region, right? And I want it to be by this particular view. So I will add my parameter, which is date selection. No concatenation. I think is needed. Will say view. Okay, now if you see here, yearly, it says sales by region yearly view, quarterly, sales by region quarterly view. If it is monthly, sales by region monthly view, and it's a daily view. The same thing will work once you will drag this thing on dashboard. So I can say hide this title. We can color these things also. And over here we'll say it's a yearly view, quarterly, monthly, or daily. All right. Is it clear?
Yes.
Bio, any questions?
None for now.
Okay. Okay. So before EOD today, I'll be kind of giving few more requirements in terms of assignment. So the data which I already shared related to attrition data, right? Or Smriti, were you able to get the data of this COVID-19?
No, Satya.
Okay. I mean, try to explore those links which I shared.
Yeah,
Huge
I'll try.
are there. So, right. So you can work on that. But again, my main focus is for both of you. Like on this time, whatever visualization you create, either using attrition data or using this COVID-19 data, try to use parameters and calculated fields, right? If you are using attrition data, our focus would be same to find out the root cause of attrition and suggestions how to kind of reduce that attrition in a particular department. If you're working on COVID-19 data, I would expect that show me the periodic way how it got spread and the highly affected or impacted countries as a timeline, right? As a timeline, basically, with time, you need to tell me that when at a particular time of period, which country was most impacted, right? Focus is on these two right now because this concept will be used a lot as you go in the real projects, parameter and calculated fields. And if you have any doubt, you will struggle a lot. So try to work on parameters and calculated fields and create some visualization on these two. And I need to see this on Monday, right? Because we have covered mostly, uh, most of the topics except R and Python connectivity. There are few things left in the dashboards. So in next 2-3 classes, I'll cover all those things. So we'll be kind of cover everything uh, in terms of Tableau in next 2-3 class. But yes, I would like to utilize this time for most of the practice sessions for you guys. So try to submit whatever and again on the dashboards. Okay, tomorrow is Saturday. Saturday only, right? Today is Saturday. Okay, today is Saturday. So okay, so on Monday we'll go on the dashboards. But again, try to submit your assignments on Monday itself. Okay, we don't want to delay because we need to kind of complete one more assignment after this.
Yes, Satya. Yeah.
Right? So parameter and calculated field. Please focus on that. All right. Yep. Any other question before we drop today? Okay, then is mention
Yeah.
that
So
and we'll go through the
the next
dashboard.
class is on Monday,
Little,
right?
could you please repeat? Next class is
I
on
said,
Monday.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, next month. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Bye bye,
Thank you, sir.
everyone.